Hello everyone, good afternoon. This is Merly Barlaan from the UN Offices of Women's Federation for World Peace International. Welcome to our podcast. We are here right now at the Philippine Center on the Fifth Avenue, Manhattan, New York. And we would like to thank the generosity of Conjen, Sen and Mangalini for allowing us to use this space. And today we are going to have a conversation with a very illustrious, special woman who is a great influencer, someone who empowered the women and families in the Filipino community, and she's also a global leader. Her name is Dr. Dely Go. Well, her history and accomplishment, if we talk about it, it will take us years and years. But I'm just going to highlight very few what makes her great and a shining example of womanhood and leadership. Dr. Dely Go, first and foremost, she is a proud Global Women Peace Ambassador of Women's Federation. And also she is a businesswoman. She is the founder and CEO of Nursing LLC, and she is one of the best women and business women and leaders in New Jersey. She is also the global hero. It's called Bayani ng Mundo, Hero of the World. She was awarded in January this year. It's a global award. And most of all, she is a mother to accomplished children, and she is a sponsor of our environmental project, the permaculture education program, and our environmental stewardship program in the Philippines and around the world. So today, please help me welcome Dr. Dely Go. Hi, Tita Dely. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Merly. That was a beautiful introduction. Thank you.
What we are trying to do is to understand how the foundational history of the women, how you became who you are today. I think your story is very inspirational. And so if you could tell us and share with us about your childhood, what experiences during childhood that shaped the way who you are and what you become today.
Yeah, I was born in the Philippines, Cavite City, Negros Occidental. I grew up there and went to a Chinese school, Filipino Chinese school, and it was really my father who molded me from the start. Every night, it's like 30 minutes lecture, how to become a good lady, and she was preparing me to be a good wife. So he really molded me and really taught me to become like to speak Chinese and also the ways of a lady. Whereas my mother is half Japanese, half Filipino. She was the one who taught me the Filipino culture and values. So I grew up in a very conservative family. And my father was a businessman. Was engaged in fishing and other like ice candy factories and other business. My mother has two groceries, so I was really surrounded by business people. So that's where I learned first my entrepreneurship, watching them, serving them. They are sharing me also what needs to be done and what needs not to be done. So each time they went to conference or gatherings, they would walk me and really introduce me to friends. That's where I think I got my everything.
And it's very interesting how you mentioned earlier that they shape you to become a good wife. And I think it's very important, even from the early years, to be taught. I mean, not just maybe just because you're a woman, but both men and women, I think that from the early years we should be educated, we should be trained how to take on that responsibility. Could you tell one experience during your childhood that from your parents that you will never forget?
My parents are both very kind and really wonderful people, and very kind-hearted. So my experience that I will never forget was when the manager, who is the best friend of my dad, was murdered brutally. You know, he was stabbed 21 times, and then finally, was shot in his heart. But being very loyal to my father, he never tell the bad man where the money is kept. So that's why he or they killed him. So that was my first
He
experience.
died protecting
He died.
the business of your family.
Yes, yes. So that was my very first, and I was traumatized by that because we were very close. So I think that's where I cope my emotions and how I deal with the later part of sad happening in my life. During the feeling of my in-laws, I think because of that experience that I learned and was able to cope my what to do, what to think, so based on that experience.
Oh my God, I am so sorry to hear that. It's traumatic, very traumatic. As a child, witnessing that kind of violence, you must have a very strong inner force and drive to survive that. And here you are now, you are a well accomplished businesswoman, an inspiring community and global figure. But before you reach this point, you moved from Philippines to New Jersey, to the US. Was that because of your experience, or tell us the process?
Well, another bad experience. My in-laws, the father-in-law, mother-in-law, brother-in-law, sister-in-law, they were murdered at the same time. So the reason why we're here, we left everything what we had in the Philippines because another murder that traumatized me again was the murder of my in-laws, father-in-law, mother-in-law, brother-in-law, and sister-in-law. They were murdered brutally, and so we're scared of our own lives, of my children's life, and us. So we decided to come here and have a peaceful life. From a big house to luxury life in the Philippines, we came here and lived in a very small attic room with only one bathroom. And with the sadness and everything, my children are crying all the time. We want to go back. We want to go back to the Philippines. And looking at my husband, who is like very, very sad, not himself anymore, and I think that made me very strong and determined to really do whatever I can, to raise again, to rise again, and to be like the head of the family. So I work hard.
What a story! Yes. When they say that the men they are strong and women are weak, but the strength of women, the power of women actually is in resilience and in her heart and her willpower, her mind. Um, Such a traumatic experience like this, such a small woman, but with tremendous power. Your children moved from luxury to a small place in the attic. Um, where did you get your power?
Well, my my dad kept on saying to me, no matter what, wherever you are, use your knowledge. Use whatever you can to survive because you have it. So that reminded me what he said, that I can do it, based on his advice. So I was able to do it.
Congratulations. Not everyone can make it like you do. And to be able to be of help. I think to be a peacemaker, in a way, when we look at the bigger scheme of life, to be a peacemaker, one can never really be a good, deep peacemaker, deeply meaningful and impactful peacemaker if you don't experience this type of chaos and violence. Tell me the process of how you were able to cope with in terms of the trauma from being a victim to a victor. What was the process like?
So anyway, the start of my life here is really sad. So, but I kept that from my children and from Harry. I need to be strong. I need to be, I showed them.
You did not show them that you're weak.
My weakness, what is
Sad.
inside. So it's time. After work, I would stop in the chapel, pray, and then we cry there. We cry hard, so that way. And so when I get home, I'm okay. That was my life. Until one day, a woman was waiting for me by the door. And she said, "Hi, Dely, I'm Sister Jane Brady. I'm the president and CEO. I notice every day you're here and you're crying. Are the cardiac surgeons treating you nice?" So I said, "Oh, yes, sister." She said, "How about your coworkers? Maybe they're terrible." I said, "No, they're also nice to me." So she said, "So what's going on? Why you're always fine? Tell me." So, and then I start sobbing. That finally a person is willing to hear my story. And so I was able to really pour out to her. And she said, "Let's go to my office and tell me more." So there she's a big person in the whole New Jersey. So then she made me a chocolate drink. She said, "Drink it, and I have a sandwich for you. So I'm sure you did not eat yet." I said, "No, I did not eat yet. You're working open heart surgery, you don't have time." So she fed me and watching me, and she was into it. And then she said, tell me really what's in your heart." So I poured everything to her. So she's really the one who really helped us, helping. So she's the one who said, encouraged me, "Why don't you come with me to the medical mission to the third world countries?" So I went with her. We went to different third world countries like Santo Domingo, San Antonio, Panama, Barrete, Morocco, Kenya, and many other countries. So I brought my daughter with me. So and that's when they saw how poor the other kids are in third world countries. And so that made them also very kind, very generous. And so all their toys, they donated it to the third world countries children. Because my daughter observed that 7 kids was playing with a small marble and with cracked marble, and she was very touched by that. So as soon as she came back, she told my son, the younger brother, and so both of them, they packed all their toys and everything. And then let me bring that to my next trip. So, I brought it, although it's heavy, but I brought it, not a disappointment. For me, I was very touched by that, because for me, that's showing their kindness, their inner person as well.
Wow. Your story is both heartbreaking and heartwarming too. If I learn, there are two things that I learned from your story, Tita Deli. When we are in the lowest time position in our lives, we need someone. We need someone to hold on to and let it out and share it with someone. And second is, if we are in difficulties, when we are sad, when we are suffering, we look out and look at the suffering of other people and serve others, and then it can heal us. Is that how you feel?
That's exactly how I feel. That's exactly why Sister Jenny walked me there. Without saying anything, just show it to me while you're there. That's the vibes of other people. So, in other words, indirectly saying to me, be thankful, although that's happened to you, you're still better than the other people. So, indirectly, what's happening.
The best way to heal depression and suffering is to serve others. And from listening to it, looks like it really works.
Yes.
Yes, yes. Well, thank you. Thank you for sharing. That's really inspirational.
Yeah.
Yes. Now, I'd like to ask about your life here as a businesswoman. So, from that very difficult transition, raising your children, your traumatized children, the family, and now everyone in the Filipino community here in the US and globally know who you are and your business acumen. So tell us about the process from the very beginning and how you made it.
So, well, I think my parents showed me when I was a little girl. So from there, still, it was instilled in my brain. So I said, there's nothing else that I can lift up our life here but to establish a business. So that's when I started thinking. And since I'm a nurse and I saw the shortage of nurses, so I said to help the facility and to help the nurses who were just getting a smaller amount and the agency are the one getting more, then I said I will reverse. I will give more money to the nurses and also save money for the facilities who is giving job to the nurses. So I started that and developed a business plan that will that actually was very successful. Yeah, so when during the administration meeting, so the first one nursing home that we provided started talking, that I'm getting my nurses from Dely Nursing Network, and I'm very happy with their nurses. It's Filipino nurses, and they are really, working hard, and I don't have problem, and they're good nurses. So when the other administrators heard that, they started calling me. Can we also sign a contract with you? And can you send us also Filipino nurses? So, and that's when it started, spread out. And then from 3 facilities, it became 33 facilities. From 3 nurses, it became over 500 nurses. So that's how, trying to be nice to everybody, trying to understand the nurses, try to be very helpful, understand their situation because they work hard at the same time their family. And what I went through, probably they're going through with a
Yes.
problem as well. So I was very understanding to them and really cared them with whatever help I could give them. So word of mouth is very powerful. So it spread out. So it's like everyone wants to join, everyone wants to work under my company. So, and thank God, with God's help, we were able to build this business.
Thank you. I think what you did is a game changer. I remember when nurses from the Philippines in the 80s and 90s, they would take a loan, a big loan, sell their lands in order to make it here in the US, but then they'll get stuck with the agency fees and all that. So it's this vicious cycle. But what you did is something that is a game changer. And if, when you say word of mouth, I think what it spread is how balanced and how generous you were and understanding the situation of the nurses and giving them a breather and a fair employer and a very generous contract. So yeah, thank you for that. This is, I think, business with a heart, with a motherly heart. Dr. Dely Go. The last couple of questions that I want to ask you is about your philanthropic work. And you've been recognized around the world, not just here in New York, New Jersey area in the US, but around the world. And I was told by your husband that your first recognition in 1999 was as an ambassador for peace at the Women's Federation in New Jersey. Isn't that amazing? Tell us about it.
Yeah, so that was the very first recognition because trying to help the Filipino families when they first come here, converting their visas, their status, and helping them buy their houses, helping them finding job their husband, sending them to school to be an LPN also, and establishing a daycare for the family so that way they would not worry for their children that while working, their children are very well taken care of by the daycare. So it spread out, again, the word of mouth spread out that Dely Go is really helping, so a lot of not only Filipinos but other people came and asked for help, which I never refused. I never declined anyone. So I tried to help whatever I could. So then again, it spread out. So one of the organizations, actually the Women's Federation for World Peace, they heard that, and then they gave me the award. That was the very first award. I was surprised by that. But they approached me and they said, "We heard your story. We heard how kind you are, how many people you have."
It's amazing.
Yeah. So they said, "We are from Women's Federation for World Peace." My children was playing violins with these two kids in their youth orchestra, and they were talking about their parents. So my children told them about me, and the children told their parents. And these are European kids with European parents. And so one day they just approached me and said, you deserve a recognition. And so how could you say no to that? They said, you will serve as an inspiration to everyone, to all women in the whole world. You can inspire them. That despite of hardship and trauma that yet you rise up and become an inspiration to everyone. So.
Oh, the kids endorsed you. Wonderful.
Thank you. So I said, why? I said, no, you are an extraordinary person. You could help these people, like what you have done. Although they just what you did. You really good, and you went out for whatever you want to help them. So I said thank you. So it was actually the Women's Federation for World Peace.
We are truly honored. We are truly honored. That's amazing. Tell us more about your other. I know in the Filipino community also, your presence is. You're everywhere, and you had also one in Philippines, the Bayani ng Mundo. It's the hero of the world. Could you tell us more about it?
Yes. So during COVID time, not only during COVID, but COVID time, many families were displaced and actually died because of the COVID. And so again, I stood up and helped them and send the body of the family to the Philippines. Others were afraid to go near because they're afraid to be contaminated and infected, but I do not. I went and helped them. And so word of mouth again spread out that I'm helping. So that's it. And then help with that. And there's some other things that that I did that they were just impressed or touched by the way I help other people.
Thank you. And again, congratulations because it's not easy to do all this public work despite of how busy you are. But still, you still think of the people beyond business, in the field of service.
I think why they selected me to the Bayani ng Mundo International is because of first the nurses that I helped come here with my family, then help them find their own home, help them find have their own houses, through my relationship with the banks and mortgage company, and my scholarship all over, helping the organizations also.
Yes.
Each time they come and ask me, can you donate, blah, 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 because we have scholarship or there's calamity, but I never said no. I always help them.
In the diplomatic world, while you are an ambassador for peace, representing the peace building work of the Women's Federation and the attempt to create world peace, the work of scholarship, helping people, humanitarian aid, it's part of the track to diplomacy. So those are really, really important. I commend you for that. Thank you. Thank you for your wonderful work. Just before we move on to the next question, there's this nagging question in me. You are a successful businesswoman. I wonder what it takes for an ordinary businesswoman who didn't have a background or who were not raised up by entrepreneur parents, because you were obviously raised up by entrepreneur parents, and so it's embedded in the values and the work ethics. What would it take for an ordinary woman to be empowered to be a businesswoman? Could you share with us what would it take?
I don't know really because I was born with it. So, but what I can share is like determination, hard work,
Hard work and determination.
Really learn the business, and strategies, how to expand, how to start it, So you should have the baseline knowledge of the business. Know the business plan to guide you, because with like a roadmap, to end you successful. Because if you don't have the business plan, then you
Yes.
don't know what
Yes.
what you need to do. Yeah. So
Thank you. That's a very important. I think for it applies to everyone, whether it's business or whatever we want to do in life. For me, I work in the non-governmental organization, and I didn't grow up with mentors or experts, but in my 20s, I was raised up with the mover and shakers of the world, a Korean, a Japanese, and American. They were the first leaders of the Women's Federation. So in that sense, I'm very lucky. I think in our lives, we need a mentor. We really need a mentor to walk us through life. And if we have that mentor, it's a blessing. It's not just lucky, it's a blessing from heaven. In that sense, it was your parents who was your nurturing ground to grow into be the woman that you are now.
and also Sister Jane, who really
Oh, Sister Jane, your angel.
Angel, who
Your
really
angel.
showed me openly how poor people are living and really needs help and how to help. So it's her.
It awakened
It's
the consciousness inside you.
Yes.
Yes. Wow. Wow. So heartwarming. Um, be- Before we end, one more topic that I want to talk about moving forward, our environmental project, our sustainable development project. In this world, now the world is changing fast and it's chaotic. And if we don't have a lighthouse that will shine in the dark, I think it's very difficult for the next generation to navigate towards their destination. And I believe that our environmental project, the permaculture, the mainstreaming of permaculture education, the scholarship program, now we're doing it in Philippines, we're expanding it all over the world. And we are so grateful, we are thankful that you are here and you give us your commitment to support. And you are in this way, in this sense, you're like the angels to so many people who don't even know you, but through the projects of our environmental program, they will remember you. The ripple effect of what you've done. For example, our permaculture project last year was the program. We did it with the CITU. You were with us with the Cebu Institute of Technology. We had almost 1 year. In next month will be 1 year. We had our, remember Tita, the memorandum of understanding. We had that signing ceremony with the president of CITU. And 6 months after that, we went to CITU. We had our summit. And then we did a training program for permaculture farmers and municipal agriculturists. And we had a competition of who's going to be the best productive farm using permaculture techniques, and we have three winners in Bohol. And then they come up with a plan to have a food bank for the school children. And so these type of activities, education and awakening of a higher consciousness, centering on living a healthy life, changing the food systems, and empowering women and food security, women, peace, and food security. These are what makes us who we are, and this is, in essence, makes our life meaningful. And your work as a businesswoman, as a global women peace ambassador, we need to continue moving forward. And what is your message? What is your message to the women, not just the women leaders, but the young women up there, the ordinary housewives? Give them a message of hope, how to navigate in this fast transitioning world.
Yeah, so, with all those trauma in my life, hardship and everything, from rich to poor, then now okay again. It was really determination and trust in God, that you can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. That's all I can say. Yeah.
Thank you, Tita. Can I give you a hug? Oh my God. Thank you. Thank you. Your story is, as I said, heartbreaking and but heartwarming and inspiring. And if you think about it, this world is filled with stories like this. And you need to move forward to be an inspirational figure and lead many, many women who are still struggling to have a better life. And hopefully one day we get there, establish a world of peace where everyone is safe, everyone is happy, everyone is healthy, work together despite of our differences. And I think that is the world of peace for everyone, when we're able to work together and really exercise, bring that power of our heart out. And as mothers, as sisters, as daughters, and as children of God, and we live in this one human family in this global village, and we are grateful. The word today is determination, grit, and gratitude. And then we will succeed and we'll get there. Thank you, everyone. And thank you, Dr. Dely Go, for sharing your beautiful story.
Thank you, Chin. Thank you.
Thank you, and we'll see you next time for more inspiring stories.